welcome to the deep dive. Let's jump right in. We're talking about that feeling, right?
Yeah.
You know English, you've got the grammar, the
Yeah.
words, but then you try to speak and nothing. You just freeze up.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a common barrier, that disconnect between knowing the language on paper and actually using it in conversation. It can be really, really frustrating.
Totally. So our mission today in this deep dive is to figure out why that fear happens and, more importantly, pull out some real actionable tips and maybe a better mindset from a great conversation we found between two English language fans.
Right. We want to give you, the listener, some clear takeaways, those aha moments, without making it feel overwhelming.
Exactly. And the sources we looked at cover a lot of ground practical stuff you can do now, but also bigger shifts in how you think about speaking. We'll structure it so you walk away feeling ready, not, overloaded.
Okay, so where do we start? What's a major thing that keeps tripping people up based on what we saw?
Well, something that really stood out is this obsession with being perfect.
Ah, yes, that comes up again and again. The sources really hammer home that mistakes aren't just okay, they're actually necessary. They're part of learning.
It sounds almost backwards, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You feel like you have to be perfect before you open your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But the advice is really, no, the goal is just communication first, getting your point across.
Exactly. That pressure for perfection, it's
Yeah.
paralyzing. And honestly, even native speakers, we trip over words, we make mistakes. The real goal is just, can people understand you?
Right. And it's okay to pause. That was another point. Taking a second to think isn't like a sign you're bad at English. It's normal. We do it in our own language.
We absolutely do. That little pause can actually make what you say clearer, right?
Mhm.
Gives you a moment to find the right word, organize the thought. It feels way better than rushing and stumbling.
Definitely. Okay, another thing that jumped out was the idea of finding a speaking partner. The sources really emphasize this.
Oh, hugely important. Creating that sort of safe zone, a place where you can practice without feeling judged. That builds confidence like nothing else.
Yeah, someone who gets it, because they're probably going through the same thing.
Yeah.
That fear of judgment just kind of melts away.
Exactly. And linked to that, the sources suggested focusing more on just talking at first, not getting too hung up on perfect grammar right away.
Right, fluency first, then refinement.
Kind of, yeah. Build some momentum, get comfortable just expressing ideas. You can always polish the grammar later once speaking itself feels a bit less scary.
That makes sense. And another simple but key point. If you don't get something, just ask. Don't pretend you understand.
Absolutely critical. Asking for clarification isn't failing, it's communicating effectively. It shows you're engaged.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Pronunciation. How do we sound more natural? Mimicking native speakers came up a lot.
Right, the idea of mimicking or shadowing, it sounds maybe a bit silly, but it trains your ear and your mouth, really, to the rhythm, the sounds of English.
It's not just copying words, is it? It's like absorbing the music of the language.
Precisely. Muscle memory for your mouth, almost.
I can imagine feeling pretty awkward doing that at first, though.
Oh, for sure. The sources acknowledge that. You might feel silly, but like anything, you just gotta push through that initial weirdness. Persistence is key.
And the payoff is you start noticing real changes, like maybe fewer ums and us's.
Yeah, exactly. Fewer pauses, feeling more confident, finding the words. That's a great sign your brain's processing English more smoothly. It shows progress.
Okay, let's tackle the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Fear. It's just this huge wall for so many people. The sources really confront that directly.
They do. They basically say letting that fear control you just stops you in your tracks. You won't improve if you don't try.
So how do you start chipping away at that fear?
Well, the idea is that every single time you do speak, even if it's flawed, even if it feels scary, you're actually making that fear a little bit weaker. It's like exposure.
Huh. So it's not about waiting to be fearless. It's about building resilience through doing.
Exactly that. The more you do it, the less intimidating it becomes over time. Consistent effort really does lessen the anxiety.
And it loops back to that core idea again, doesn't it? The goal isn't perfection. It's connection. It's sharing ideas.
Yes. Thinking about it that way takes so much pressure off. It lets you be okay with the learning process, mistakes and all.
Okay, so practical steps. What about creating an immersive environment? Daily listening seems to be a big one.
Definitely. Just surrounding yourself with the sounds of English daily helps you pick up new words, new phrases almost passively.
And you don't need to understand everything, right? That was a
Yeah.
helpful point. Just getting used to the sounds is beneficial.
Mm-hmm. That familiarity builds an intuitive feel for the language, even if you're not catching every single word. It's foundational.
And it's not just passive listening. repeating what you hear, that shadowing thing again, that helps you sound more natural too.
Right, that active repetition refines your pronunciation, your rhythm. You're trying to match how people actually speak.
Plus, making it fun. Watching TV shows, movies you actually like in English. That came up a lot.
Yeah, because when you're enjoying it, you're more open to absorbing the language. You start recognizing things without even trying to memorize them.
So the big message seems to be stop overthinking. Just speak.
Pretty much. You can't get better at speaking by not speaking. Every attempt counts. It's practice.
And the more you speak, the easier it gets to actually think in English too. That sounds like a major milestone.
Oh, it's a game changer. Thinking directly in English cuts out that whole translation step in your head. Makes you faster, more natural, less hesitant.
And all this practice, trying things out,
Hmm.
it builds confidence, right? It's like a positive cycle.
Absolutely. Success breeds confidence. Confidence encourages more practice, and around it goes.
Let's dig into that thinking in English idea a bit more. How does that actually work?
Well, it's about consciously trying to form your thoughts in English from the start instead of thinking in your native language and then translating. It feels weird at first, definitely.
I bet, like your brain's fighting you.
Kind of, yeah. But the sources say stick with it. It gets easier. It becomes more automatic with practice.
And the result is speaking feels less constructed, more natural.
Exactly. Less like assembling sentences piece by piece and more like just talking.
Okay, staying motivated is key too. The sources talked about tracking your progress.
Yeah, keeping some kind of record. It helps you see how far you've actually come, especially when you feel like you're stuck.
And celebrating the small wins. That seemed important. Even if you just spoke a tiny bit more today than yesterday, that's progress.
Totally. Acknowledge those moments. It keeps things positive, keeps you going.
Because it really is about those small, consistent steps adding up over time.
That's the core message. Sustained effort. It's not about cramming. It's about regular, manageable practice.
Now, taking it out into the real world, the sources really pushed for finding actual situations to use English.
Yes, moving from the practice room to real life.
Yeah.
Ordering coffee, asking for directions, small interactions. It forces you to use the language spontaneously.
Might feel scary at first, but incredibly valuable.
Absolutely. When you manage those real-world interactions, even simple ones, it's a huge confidence boost. It's proof you can actually do it.
It makes it real, doesn't it? Not just theory.
Exactly. It's applying the knowledge in a practical way.
And we keep coming back to this, but it's crucial. Don't be afraid of mistakes.
Please don't. They're not failures. They're just information. They show you what you need to work on. Learn from them.
Just keep practicing, even when it feels tough. Persistence pays off.
It really does. That persistence builds resilience and eventually confidence.
Another practical tip.
Yeah.
Actively use new vocabulary. Don't just learn lists of words.
Right. Try to weave those new words into your actual speaking. That's how they move from passive knowledge to active use.
Yeah.
Makes them stick.
It's like building a habit requires repetition.
Definitely. Repetition strengthens those connections in your brain.
And it's okay to try using a word even if you're not 100% sure. Better to try than not try at all.
Yes. That willingness to experiment is so important. Trial and error is part of it. Over time, you'll feel more confident using a wider range of words.
Which must feel great, knowing you can express yourself more precisely.
Absolutely empowering.
Okay, let's talk about making learning fun again. We mentioned TV shows, but the sources had other ideas too.
Yeah, the core idea is if you enjoy it, you'll stick with it. Find ways to learn that don't feel like work.
Like learning about things you're already interested in, but doing it in English.
Exactly. If you love cooking, watch English cooking shows, read recipes in English. The vocabulary becomes more relevant, easier to remember.
And you can absorb a lot passively that way, right?
You really can. It complements the more focused study nicely.
So basically, weave English into your life in enjoyable ways.
Make it part of your routine, your hobbies. It creates more natural learning opportunities.
And thinking in English again, the sources really emphasize this for speeding things up.
Yeah, it's that direct link between thought and speech. Cuts out the middleman of translation, makes you quicker, smoother.
Feels awkward at first, but gets easier.
That's the promise. Consistent effort makes it more automatic. Less pausing, more flow.
Okay, and setting goals. Small, achievable ones seem to be the way to go.
Definitely. Instead of, I want to be fluent, maybe I'll speak English for 5 minutes today, or I'll learn 3 new phrases this week. Much less intimidating.
And hitting those small goals builds momentum, right? boosts confidence.
Exactly. Every little success reinforces that you can do it, keeps you motivated.
And feel proud of that progress, however small it seems.
Absolutely. Every step forward counts.
And just keep at it consistently, even when progress feels slow.
Consistency is king. Small, regular efforts beat infrequent big pushes every time.
And we can't forget listening skills. They feed directly into speaking.
Hugely important. Listening tunes your ear to the rhythm, the intonation, the common phrases people use.
Makes it easier to understand conversations in real time.
Definitely. And it improves your own pronunciation and tone, too.
They really are interconnected, listening and speaking.
Like two sides of the same coin, you need both.
So mix both into your practice routine.
A balanced approach is best for overall progress.
Now, something that can really derail motivation. Comparing yourself to others. The sources warn against this.
Oh, yes. It's such a trap. Everyone learns differently at a different pace. Comparing is usually just discouraging.
Focus on your journey, right? How far have you come?
Exactly. Celebrate your own progress, your own milestones. It's your personal path.
Consistency matters more than speed.
Absolutely. Steady effort over time wins the race. Every bit of practice adds up.
And if you feel stuck, maybe shake things up. Vary your learning methods.
Good idea. Don't just do one thing. Mix reading, listening, watching videos, talking. Keeps it fresh. Reinforces learning in different ways.
Exposure in different forms helps things click.
Yeah, a well-rounded approach usually leads to faster, more solid progress.
It's also okay to take breaks, right? Learning a language is tiring.
Essential. Burnout is real. Stepping back to recharge isn't giving up. It's part of sustainable learning.
You often come back feeling refreshed, maybe with a new perspective.
Exactly. Listen to your brain and body. Rest is just as important as practice.
Okay, let's revisit that fear of looking foolish. It stops so many people.
It really does. But the truth is, everyone makes mistakes. Even native speakers. It's just part of communicating.
So, reframe mistakes as learning opportunities.
Precisely. They show you where you need to focus. Don't let them paralyze you.
And usually, people are pretty understanding, aren't they? They appreciate the effort.
Generally, yes. Most people admire someone trying to speak another language. Don't let the fear win. The more you speak, the smaller those mistakes will feel anyway.
Let's talk about that shadowing technique again. How exactly does that work?
So you listen to a sentence or phrase, and you immediately repeat it, trying to copy the pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, everything as closely as possible, like an echo.
Instant replay. And that helps with sounding more natural.
Yeah, it trains your mouth muscles and helps you internalize the flow of the language, the melody, not just words, but how they link together.
It sounds like a really active way to improve speaking, almost subconsciously.
It can be very effective, yes.
Yeah.
Internalizing those patterns without overthinking grammar.
And creating a supportive environment is key for trying things like shadowing, right? Feeling safe to experiment.
Absolutely. You need to feel comfortable making mistakes, trying things out without fear of being judged. Find patient partners, join supportive groups, even just practice alone where you feel safe.
The main thing is just to verbalize regularly.
Exactly. Build that comfort with speaking out loud.
And the advice is, start now. Don't wait until you feel ready.
Yes. There's no perfect moment. Just begin. Today. Even for a few minutes.
Those small, consistent bits add up.
They really do. Don't pressure yourself for flawless conversations right away. Just start. More speaking leads to more confidence, leads to more natural speaking. It's a cycle.
Interesting point about body language, too. It's not just the words.
Not at all. How you stand, gestures, eye contact, a smile, it all contributes. It can make you seem more confident, even if your vocabulary is still developing.
So nonverbal cues support the verbal message.
Definitely. They help convey meaning and confidence. Pay attention to how you present yourself, not just what you say.
And we keep circling back to listening and speaking being connected.
Because they are. Listening exposes you to different accents, styles, vocabulary, and context. It improves your understanding of how sentences are naturally built.
Makes it easier to form your own sentences.
Yes. The more real English you hear, the more intuitive speaking becomes. Listening, reading, speaking, they all reinforce each other.
So practice all of them.
For the best results, yes.
What about accent anxiety? Trying to sound perfectly native.
Yeah. The sources suggest focusing more on clarity. Can people understand you easily? That's the main goal.
Not necessarily sounding exactly like someone from London or New York.
Exactly. There are so many accents in English. Focus on being clear and understandable. Embrace your own accent rather than stressing about eliminating it entirely.
Okay, so if there's one core principle underlying everything, it seems to be consistency.
Without a doubt, consistent, regular effort is the foundation. Keep going even when it's hard, even when progress feels slow.
Daily practice, even short bursts, makes the biggest difference.
It really does. It builds habits, reinforces learning, and makes speaking feel more natural over time.
And let's reinforce the mistakes thing one last time. They're good.
They're learning opportunities. Each one tells you something. Don't fear them. Learn from them. They mean you're trying. You're stretching yourself.
Embrace them, learn, move on.
That's the mindset.
And with vocabulary, it's about using it, not just knowing it.
Active application. That's how words stick and become part of your usable language toolkit. Focus on using what you know effectively.
Deliberately try to use new words.
Yes, consistency and repetition make them feel natural.
Reading helps with that too, right? Seeing words in context.
Hugely. Reading expands vocabulary and shows you how words are actually used. The more you read, the more naturally new words will pop into your head when you speak.
So find stuff you enjoy reading.
It makes it much more effective and less like homework.
What about phrasal verbs? They seem tricky but important.
Very important for sounding natural. Native speakers use them constantly. The key is understanding their meaning in context, not just the literal words. Pay attention when you hear them.
Okay, so prioritizing communication over perfection again.
Always. Can you get your message across clearly? That's success. Fluency improves with practice. Don't force perfection.
And if you're unsure, ask. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification.
Never. It's better to ask than stay confused. People usually appreciate it. It speeds up learning. Everyone starts somewhere.
Integrating English into daily life, phone settings, social media.
Small things add up. Thinking in English during the day. Make it part of your routine. More exposure makes it feel more natural. Look for those everyday opportunities.
In repetition, repetition, repetition.
Can't stress it enough. It cements things in your memory. Reviewing old material isn't wasted time. It strengthens retention.
Speaking out loud when practicing is also vital.
Yes. Improves pronunciation. Builds confidence. Feels weird at first. Gets easier. More speaking practice equals more fluency. Even talking to yourself helps.
Role-playing different scenarios, that sounds useful.
It is. Simulating situations ordering food, a job interview builds confidence and helps you apply vocabulary in context. You can do it with a partner or alone. It prepares you for the real thing.
And fundamentally, try to enjoy the process.
Makes all the difference. If it's fun, you'll keep doing it. Integrate enjoyable English activities. Learn about things you love.
Interacting with native speakers is valuable, but maybe intimidating.
It can be, but they offer great insights into natural language, idioms, pronunciation. Many are happy to help learners. It's excellent practice. Don't worry about mistakes. The effort is appreciated.
Joining online communities can help too.
Definitely. Connect with other learners, share tips, practice together, stay motivated. Lots of supportive groups out there. Find one where you feel comfortable.
And remember, patience and self-compassion. It's a long game.
Absolutely. Be kind to yourself. Progress isn't always linear. Consistency matters most. Those moments of feeling stuck often come right before a breakthrough. Acknowledge every step forward.
Setting those small, achievable goals really helps with that patience.
Yes, break it down. Celebrate each small win. Focus on the next step, not the huge end goal. It all adds up.
And connecting English to hobbies makes it more relevant.
Very effective. Learn cooking terms in English if you love cooking, sports terms if you love sports. It connects learning to your passions, makes vocabulary stick.
Reading aloud, regularly simple but powerful.
Very. Improves pronunciation, fluency, memory. Gets you comfortable hearing yourself speak English. Make it a habit.
Using language apps and tools.
Explore them. Many offer speaking practice, AI feedback on pronunciation, progress tracking. Find tools that fit your style. They can be a great supplement.
Watching TV shows and movies, fun immersion.
Great for hearing natural conversations, slang, intonation. Pick shows you genuinely like.
Playing English language games.
Another fun way. Puzzles, role-playing games can improve vocabulary and interaction skills. Gamification helps.
Learning from educational content like TED Talks.
Excellent for exposure to diverse topics, expert speakers, often more advanced vocabulary. Use subtitles if needed. Learn language and new things at the same time.
Participating in online language challenges.
Good for a push. Creates community, accountability. Practice with people worldwide can be exciting.
But always coming back to consistency, that's the non-negotiable.
It's the absolute core. Daily practice, however small, builds the foundation. Make it a routine.
Remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Be patient.
Trust the process. Steady, incremental steps lead to big results over time. Acknowledge your progress.
And savor those breakthroughs when something finally clicks.
Those moments are so rewarding, they fuel you to keep going. Proof that your hard work is paying off. Persist, and they'll happen.
Finally, mindset is key, isn't it? A growth mindset.
Hugely. Believe you can learn. Stay curious. View mistakes as learning opportunities, not failures. Keep learning, keep speaking, keep improving.
So, wrapping up, confident English speaking is a process. It takes time, dedication, consistency, a positive attitude.
Immerse yourself, challenge yourself, practice all the skills speaking, listening, reading, thinking. Small steps lead to big progress. Persistence makes it feel natural over time.
Absolutely. Overcoming that fear is a journey. Embrace mistakes, prioritize communication. Every single step forward counts.
So maybe a final thought for you listening right now. What's just one small thing you can commit to doing today to start moving past that fear?
That's a great question to leave you with. We really hope this deep dive gave you some practical ideas and a dose of encouragement. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for joining us.